I don't know what I should have picked. I don't think I saw Thresh yet. Nor Lysandra. I think I saw MF, Yasuo, Lee Sin. And my support was hovering Lux. And they had MF. So what do I actually pick? I feel like I needed something more self-sustainable. Because once this game went to shit, it was not playable for me. Couldn't get any farm at all. I was like 50 CS at 10 minutes. Since they were constantly ganking and shoving me off of my turret. So maybe Astro was actually the right call. But blind Astro without seeing enemy support, is that really good? Maybe. Probably better than Kaisa at least. I think you should choose first. I think with Braum though, Tristana is really good. We can actually go on MF. I feel like if you went Thresh, then I'd probably go Kaisa. If you went Rakan, I'd probably go Saya. And if you went Braum, I'd probably go Tristana. So this worked out too well. I don't know. I don't think my pick would have changed too much last game, but I'm just trying to think about things I could have done better. I feel like it was really over after we got level 2 ganked and we both needed to flash, and then Lulu into level 3. And I got pushed off of my turret from Lee Sin, by Lee Sin, and lost like 3 waves. I think at that point the game was pretty much over for me, and I was really reliant on my team getting a lead top side, which they didn't, because we're losing top lane as well. So the game was pretty much over at that point, unfortunately. So regardless of what I picked, I probably wouldn't have been able to do anything, but it's just like, I don't care about how everyone else is doing in the game. Like obviously it sucks that my top side loses as well when they're putting their resources bot, but what can I do, you know? Just have to dig it and try to work on my own stuff. And I think my pick wasn't optimal, so I figured the stuff I could work on was what I picked and the early game before they got level 3 and killed us, I guess. Or even got level 2 and ganked us. And that was potentially picking Astro over Kaisa and shoving first wave and letting it bounce, or freezing on level 1. I think either one would be okay. Not optimal, but whatever we did wasn't good, because if they can just gank, take 2 flashes, then I feel like there is something wrong. So now I'm actually blinding. Could go Tristana, could go Kaisa again. I kind of want to go Kaisa again, because I feel like last game wasn't that great. I would like to have a better one. I actually like the champion a lot. I think the new build is really cool. With double pickaxe BF, so if I could get a good game on Kaisa, I'd be happy. I don't think this is 9.4, I think this is still 9.3. Yeah, probably if I had a better game, I could have carried with Kaisa last game, but still don't think it was very reliable to get there. Our matchup wasn't great and we were red side, so I think I should have picked something safer. I feel like it's really hard to farm with Kaisa if you cannot contest your lane. Like for example in this case, it's not gonna be great, but it's still better than last game, because this game we at least have like some playmaking going for us. We have Thresh and we have Lee Sin. Well, last game we had Nidalee and Lulu, so even if we put resources bot lane, I don't think we win 3v3 or even manage to find a kill 3v2. So even though my matchup is worse by the fact that Fiddle deals damage and Thresh doesn't, it's still easier for me because I actually have options now from my team. Meanwhile, last game I felt like Thresh could just walk up behind my creeps and go for hooks on CD, and as soon as something landed, then it was So it was a rough one. So yeah, I don't know. I would probably pick something else. I just think right side is really hard when you have a non-contestable jungle matchup / support matchup, because I legit can't farm creeps. So I should probably pick a champion that can farm creeps without doing anything. And I think Astro is like a prime candidate when it comes to those conditions. Maybe I should also go a different starting item. I feel like D-Blade is all or nothing, but last game I don't think it was necessarily an all or nothing game. I could have probably just went D-Shield and farmed it out and done either the freeze level 1 or push into bounce after first wave. But I think this game is more all or nothing, because we have Trash GAs instead of Nightly Lulu, so there's actually options to make plays. Meanwhile, last game I actually think they could have just 2v3'd us. So hopefully this one goes better. I think the Blade one is pretty good. But I'm not a big fan of Blade. I feel like you need to hit so much for it to pay off. Meanwhile, the fights are not really allowing you to hit so much. I feel like at best you get like one rotation of your spells out before you die or they die. And that's not really what Blade excels at. I feel like Blade excels at longer fights where you get more rotations of your spells out. I'm trying not to bounce, but it's easier said than done. So I'm not a big fan of it. I would much rather just go for the crit route and have people actually die in my short time window. But I see the logic behind it. It's just I don't think the meta calls for it. At least not in solo queue. Maybe in competitive if there are like tanks and shit, but in solo queue there are never tanks. Ever. Like even the tanks don't build tank, you know? If there actually are tanks in solo queue, they don't build tank items. So I wouldn't suggest it. But if the enemy team is having tanks, then I don't think it's too bad. Hopefully we can get something going, because I'm just gonna get continuously poked here. Kalista. Kinda wanna play Tristan against that. Not so, like this is a matchup where I feel like Kaisa would be better, because in this matchup I could for sure contest and do shit. Meanwhile, the last two games that I played Kaisa, I couldn't do anything because my matchup wasn't good, and the champion doesn't allow you to play if the matchup is not good. If that makes sense. So for example, if you're playing Astral and your matchup is bad, you can still function and do things. But with Kaisa, there's no option, you know? You don't have playmaking, you don't have the ability to farm, you don't have the survivability to tank, slow pushes, dives, ganks. Like you just struggle for your life when you're not in a good position. So I think I made a mistake by picking it the last two games, because I think in both of the games I had a pretty shitty matchup and I couldn't do anything. I think the Jhin pick was fine, the Tristana pick was fine, but both of these Kaisa picks were not fine. I don't think this champion is meant to be played from behind. I feel like when you're able to put the pressure down, then she really excels, but playing on the back foot is legit impossible. How to impact the game as AD carry if the lane matchup is bad. I think you should try to go for plays if your matchup is bad. Like, probably what happens is that you either have a bad matchup, but you have playmaking, or you have a good matchup, but no playmaking. Which is why I don't like Kaisa, because she has neither, right? She doesn't have a good matchup, and she doesn't have playmaking. So she just ends up being like, whoa, just, you know, push me in, do whatever you want, I will try to farm it out. And I think that's wrong. I feel like that's wrong, at least. So I like her in good matchups, because then you have a good matchup but not the playmaking, right? But in a bad matchup, it feels like you don't bring either, which is why I like a champion like Tristana, because she has these bad matchups, right? But she has the playmaking. So even though you're pushed in, you're struggling for your life, you still have the option to jump on them and go for it. And I don't think Kaisa has that. She has her 6, but it's not like you can go first, you know? With Tristana, you can just like ping that guy and go, and your team will follow. So I feel like you need to bring either. Either you need to bring the playmaking, or you need to bring the good matchup, and Kaisa kind of doesn't do it. So I personally think I should not blind pick her like I did. I should move away from it. And I think in this game I might be having a card to support, but I might be wrong. Someone pick me Pike. Okay, Lucian Pike, that sounds nice. Let's go. Let's do it, my friend. Let's do it.